Tonight on NewsWatch, the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan. A look at the disaster relief efforts in the region. Plus, China's one-child policy, the latest step toward abolishing the rule and what that means for the future of China. And meet one Olympic gold medalist and learn about his campaign to reach a new generation of swimmers. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin. It has been a week since Typhoon Haiyan hit the Philippines. Hundreds of thousands are homeless and many more need food and water. Officials say 10,000 may be dead. In the midst of all the suffering, the people are turning to the church to make it through these troubled times. George Thomas reports from Tacloban.
It is almost impossible to imagine, but a heavenly chorus is rising in the middle of so much heartache and devastation. 1 week after their lives were turned upside down, newlyweds Rialan and Rodolfo say there is no better place to be than at church for evening mass.
We came to pray for our city, our families, and our children.
Faith is all that keeps them going.
Only God can help us. Our city needs Him.
For decades, Santo Niño Church has stood as a pillar in this community of Tacloban. But then last week on Friday, a devastating storm and a massive wall of water came rushing towards the church. And today, it is filled with water, debris strewn on one side of the church, but yet it has not shaken the faith of the congregation members.
This is not supposed to be a time for us to complain to God.
Father Oliver Mazo is one of the vicars at Santo Niño. These days he has the difficult task of speaking life and hope into a city that has little of either.
Suffering comes in order for us to realize that Earth is not the end of life, but there is heaven that we hope for.
A week after Typhoon Haiyan cut a path of destruction across central Philippines, international relief agencies face the daunting task of aiding homeless survivors like Miriam, dirty, hungry, thirsty, and days away from giving birth. She, her husband, and one-year-old son live in this small shack.
We're so afraid and panicking that we don't know what to do.
Roads to and from the city are almost impassable, littered with debris, cars, and fallen trees. As authorities continue to find the dead, the living are desperately searching for food, water, and shelter. Some are still looking through the remains of destroyed homes, still searching for missing loved ones and belongings. On the streets of Tacloban, hundreds of soldiers are on watch, setting up numerous checkpoints to stop looting and the occasional violence. But spend some time here and you begin to understand the scale of the disaster and the challenges facing this nation. 500,000 people are homeless and nearly 4 million have been affected by the storm. Late this week, a hopeful sign as survivors lined up for handouts of rice and water. Back at Santo Niño, Father Mazo continues to encourage the faithful not to give up.
Suffering comes in order for us to realize that Earth is not the end of life, but there is heaven that we hope for.
George Thomas, CBN News, Tacloban, Philippines.
Authorities have declared martial law in areas across the Philippines. They're trying to stop looting and violence and make sure food and water reaches the remote areas where people are in danger of starving. CBN Asia correspondent Lucille Tulusan has more from Tacloban.
Our CBN News team caught this scene in downtown Tacloban. People running from armed civilians who are shooting at security forces. Violence, robbery, and looting are rampant in the affected areas because people are hungry. Tons of relief goods are coming in from different parts of the world. But sad to say, distribution has been very slow. People in the far-flung areas face death because there is no food or water. On top of that, there is the stench and sight of dead bodies rotting in the sun.
Behind me are bloated dead bodies that are still lining up the streets, and the storm happened last Friday, and yet they are still here.
Residents here fear the unburied dead will spread disease and more death. Maria Moreno is one of those desperate to get out of Tacloban City. Her whole family, 17 members, have been waiting in this airport for 2 days.
We will die here if we don't leave. Nothing is left. We lost our houses, everything, and it is not safe anymore. Lawless men ransack houses and we have neighbors who were killed and raped. We don't know where to go, but we have decided to begin a new life somewhere else.
Maria is a regular viewer of the 700 Club Asia. When she learned that we were from CBN, she immediately asked for prayer. And as the team prayed for her, she surrendered her life to Jesus. We also shared our food and water with the family, no knowing how long they would have to wait for a flight out. After several hours, a very happy Maria told us the whole family was getting on a flight.
It's an answered prayer. It's so hard to get a flight, but they are accommodating all of us. Thank you for praying because now I feel light and my headache is gone. Thank you very much, 700 Club.
But then tens of thousands are still trapped here, in desperate need of the assistance that organizations like CBN Disaster Relief is delivering. Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Tacloban, Philippines.
Keep the Philippines in your prayers. Well, still to come on tonight's News Watch, we'll take a closer look at the work of Operation Blessing in the area. Stick around for that. But first, China is relaxing its infamous one-child policy. The Chinese Communist Party made the announcement today after a 4-day meeting of party leaders. Under the new rules, couples can have 2 children if one of the parents is an only child. The current rules allow urban couples 1 child and rural couples 2 children if the first child is a girl. Since 1971, the Chinese government has performed about 336 million abortions. The government also announced it's closing down its system of labor camps. Joining us via Skype is Chai Ling. She is the founder of All Girls Allowed, a Christian ministry aimed at ending China's one-child policy. Chai Ling, what brought about this decision to allow more kids?
To not allow more kids in China, it was a one-child policy was formed by the leader of China in late 70s, early 80s, and it created such a massive brutality and crime against women, against children. And so we have been advocating in the name of Jesus to end this one-child policy. So we are receiving this latest statement or decision by the Chinese government's Family Planning Committee that they will continue the one-child policy as a national policy with only minor modifications. On one hand, we welcome the improvement. On the other hand, we totally urge them to end this brutal policy immediately.
Would you say that China could expect a baby boom in the next few years?
We hope so, because China needs to reverse its aging population problem, a slowdown of the economy, and a massive demographic problem. The worst is create a gendercide. 1 out of every 6 baby girls are killed as a result of when the family only given one choice to have a boy. So right now, China has over 40 million single men that will never be able to find wives, have a family. So they create so much social unrest, child trafficking, sex trafficking against women and commercial sex industry.
Do you feel like that the improvements as far as in China's one-child policy will help actually crack down on that gender side?
Not at all. Statistics shows when people were given a chance to do 2 children versus 1 child, they would increase the likelihood of gendercide, because this time once they have a baby girl, they want to really make sure they have a baby boy. And so that only going to worsen the gendercide problem.
Okay. Chai Ling, thank you so much for your insights today. We really commend you for your efforts.
We really appreciate it. We call all your prayers to join us in prayer.
Albania has rejected a U.S. request to destroy Syria's chemical arsenal. The agency in charge of ridding Syria of its chemical weapons wants them destroyed outside the country. Albania, the only nation that has declared and destroyed its chemical weapons stockpile, emerged as a possible location, but the Balkan nation rejected the request, saying it is impossible for Albania to take part in this operation. The rejection comes on the November 15th deadline for a detailed plan to destroy the arsenal by mid-2014. President Obama is asking Congress not to add more sanctions against Iran. He wants to give the international community more time to work out a diplomatic solution. The major powers came close to striking a deal to ease sanctions on Iran earlier this month. Meanwhile, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu says he's not impressed with reports that Iran has not expanded its nuclear program. The prime minister says Iran already has the ability to create the material to build a nuclear bomb.
They've got enough facilities, enough centrifuges to develop and to complete the fissile material which is at the core of an atomic bomb. They have that. And the test today is not whether they add to the capacity they already have. The question is, will the international community roll back what they have?
The international negotiations are scheduled to resume next week. Coming up, a look at the Republican response to the president's latest proposal on the health care law.
Choices I don't like defeat. By my side is where you'll stay. It will be a brand new day. Checking up is easy to do. Here's to freedom for me and you. By my side, it's here you'll stay. It's a brand new world today.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Choices I don't like defeat. By my side is where you'll stay. It will be a brand new day. Checking up is easy to do. Here's to freedom for me and you. By my side, it's here you'll stay. It's a brand new world today.
Welcome back. The Republican-controlled House passed legislation today intended to rescue consumers who have been losing their insurance because of the president's Affordable Care Act. Dale Hurd has the story.
The bill would allow insurance companies to keep offering policies that are being canceled because of Obamacare. The Keep Your Health Plan Act passed with the help of 39 Democrats.
H.R. 3350 offers a legislative solution to help Americans get a lifeboat, a life raft, out from under the crushing weight of this law.
The White House has threatened to veto the House bill if it reaches President Obama's desk. The House vote came after the president did an abrupt about-face Thursday and said Americans could keep their insurance, as he had promised in 2010.
If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
We did fumble the ball on it, and what I'm going to do is make sure that we get it fixed.
The announcement was a huge relief for Senate Democrats who could be unseated in elections next year because of voter fury over Obamacare.
The president's announcement was a great first step, and we will probably need legislation to make it stick.
When you look at Obamacare, frankly, I don't think there's a way to fix it.
Canceled plans now have to be repriced and filed with state regulators for approval. Then it's up to state insurance commissioners to implement the change. The whole process usually takes months. Already one state, Washington, said it's not a viable fix. It's a big black mark on the president's signature achievement and the Democrats who supported it. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Up next, Olympic swimmer Colin Jones talks about his life-saving campaign.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No!
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Nearly 10 people drown every day in the United States. Drowning is also one of the leading causes of accidental death among children. When Colin Jones was 5 years old, he almost became one of these statistics. Today, he's an Olympic swimmer. He's also on a mission to save lives. Ephraim Graham has his story in tonight's Focus Report.
At 6'5", Colin Jones's speed and skill in the swimming pool led to 2 gold and 2 silver Olympic medals. He's also only the second African American in history to take gold in swimming.
I had a lot of success in London, and my life has changed a lot. A lot more red carpets, airline food, and hotels. It's been fun, though. I enjoy it.
Swimming helped make Jones a celebrity and a bit of a fashion icon.
My dad was big into, when you walk out the house, you're representing the Jones family, and it's always stuck with me. I'm very into fashion, and at first I thought I really wanted to write for GQ, and I still think that that's something that's on my plate I'd love to do. But I've kind of evolved that into wanting to start my own line.
Still, More important than his fashion and fame, swimming has given Jones a platform to preach a life-saving message.
We need to change the perception of swimming from just being a sport, which is a great sport and a great activity, but it's also a life skill. You know, this is something that people need to learn how to do. It's just like riding a bike. Once you learn, you never forget.
Cullen nearly drowned at age 5 while visiting a Pennsylvania water park with his parents. His float flipped over in the deep end of the pool. It sent him plunging underwater for about 30 seconds. A child can drown in as little as 20.
They say at 5 you start remembering things. I vividly remember what it feels like, and I've gone to that place a couple of times in practice where I've had to hold my breath for really, really long, and knowing what it feels like to be almost helpless and being underwater and looking up and saying, well, that's maybe too far for me to get to air. And I mean, I was apprehensive about getting back in the water. It took my mom kind of pushing me, making sure I was at practices and learning how to swim and talking to different coaches. I went through 3 different teachers before I actually started to feel comfortable enough after my incident at Dorney Park to be comfortable in the water enough to put my face in the water.
The Olympian now feels more at home in the water than out. When he's not training, he travels with the USA Swimming Foundation. Their Make a Splash tour helps children get comfortable in the water and beat the alarming statistics that Cullen rattles off to me without even thinking.
60% of Latin Americans don't know how to swim. Under the age of 14, it's the second leading cause of accidental deaths with children. Nearly 70% of African Americans don't know how to swim.
That 70% puts African Americans at the greatest risk of drowning. A University of Memphis study looked at the reasons why many avoid the water. They include fear, having parents who don't know how to swim, and even physical appearance.
When it comes to African American ladies and their hair, I get it. My mom, she spends good money on her hair. If it gets wet, it's gone. And you know, they want me to speak on it because it is an issue. And when I make a waterproof cap, besides being a multimillionaire, I'll let everyone know about it.
Until then, Jones shares his story of survival, along with stories of pain and loss, like that of one Toledo mom.
Wanda Butts is like another mom to me. When I hear her story, I tear up instantly because that was pretty much almost what my mom had to go through.
It's horrible, Ephraim. It was horrible. It was the worst phone call that I'd ever received in my whole life.
Wanda's 16-year-old son, Josh, drowned during a rafting trip with friends on a Michigan lake.
Josh was in the water on the raft, and he got in trouble. Somehow the raft floated out to where it got deeper and deeper, and Josh couldn't swim. My dad saw one of his relatives drown when he was a youngster. It gave him a tremendous fear of drowning. He instilled that in me, and so then I gave it to my son.
A sign now stands at that lake, both as a warning and a reminder of Josh's drowning.
I didn't know that Josh should know how to swim, but I know now that swimming is a life skill.
A year after the tragedy, Wanda started a program to teach children to swim. It's called the Josh Project. Thousands of kids now swim thanks to the program. And one of the Josh Project's biggest supporters, Cullen Jones.
No matter what, if you're blessed, you have to give back. So for me, my way of giving back, when I won in 2008 and I got a gold medal, a friend of mine said, do you know what you can do for the sport of swimming? And I made that bigger. What do you know how you can give back? And working with the Make a Splash initiative was my way of giving back and getting my pastor off my back.
Though he jokes about his pastor, Cullen prays all of his work, honors the faith that has sustained him since he was a child, and that pastor introduced him to Christianity.
A month later, I found out my mom had cancer. And I think it helped me so much being at church every Sunday and hearing from my pastor and my pastor coming to me.
That comfort gave young Cullen courage to share his faith with his hero, his father.
My mom said I blew my dad out of the water. I was 12 years old, and I said, I'm not worried about seeing mom after she passes away. This was when she still had cancer. I'm not worried about her. I'll see her. But Dad, I'm worried about your soul because you don't go to church and you're so disconnected from church. That next Sunday, he never missed a day of church. He went every single Sunday. I was 12 years old.
Mom beat cancer twice. Dad died of lung cancer when Cullen was just 16. Ronald Jones wore the number 41 when he played college basketball. Cullen wears that number and a cross on his back, no longer worried about his father's soul.
He was at every single practice. He pushed me just because he was an athlete himself.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Charlotte, North Carolina.
CBNNews.com. News you want, when you want, 24/7. Stay current with up-to-the-minute stories.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New York.
I don't have to wait for my news anymore. CBNNews.com at your fingertips all day long.
I only watch the stories I want to see.
I find the story, I click on it, and boom, I'm there.
Embassy in Washington, Eric Stackelbeck, CBN News.
The source for your news, CBNNews.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
At the top of our newscast, CBN's George Thomas and Lucille Toulousan reported about the stark realities facing the Filipino people in Typhoon Haiyan's aftermath. We wanted to end the newscast with some good news from CBN's Operation Blessing Philippines. They are on multiple fronts across the nation, finally able to reach some remote areas that hadn't received much help or any at all. They are in outlying remote towns from Tacloban. Teams distributed what water and food they were able to bring with them, even as more is starting to arrive. They were also able to treat some injured people and working to send out more medical teams. Go to CBNNews.com to see all our reports from the Philippines and learn more about CBN's disaster relief and how you can help. Extremely important. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsWatch. Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great, restful weekend.